Shaka Zulu. OMEGA, meaning Organized Mothers Eradicate Gun Atrocities. Shaka Zulu. Uplift yourself, black kings and queens of the earth. Uplift yourselves from Babylonian mythology and ideology. Up, you mighty race, and accomplish what you will. Shaka Zulu, amiga.
Good morning, OG.
Live. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let me see 1 second. I got a problem here. Good morning. Can you say good morning? Alright, I'm seeming like I'm having a technical problem here, so let me try and do it this way. Alright, welcome back on the rebound. I'm just having a little technical problem, so let me resort. I don't know why I decided to act all stupid, but let me see, and I'll take it from here.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, you're live, Miss Campbell.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
All right, I've got live on the line Miss Campbell. She is attorney. Could you explain to them, Miss Campbell, what you actually do, please?
Yes. Hi. I'm Pauline, and I am a senior lawyer for a team of lawyers running a number of areas, which include antisocial behaviour, prosecutions, debt recovery, and general litigation, which is all types of civil law. So I run a team of lawyers and paralegals as well, and we're very busy.
Okay, that's good. You're based in London, correct?
Yes, I'm based in London, yes.
Okay, now, yesterday, I was looking in yesterday's newspaper, which is the Metro. No, not the Metro, the Evening Standard. And it was saying a surge in murder, knife crimes, and robbery in the capital. Now, I know in northwest London, a couple months ago, they had an initiative, I think it was called SEPTA. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Okay, and it would involve in the stop and searching and license plate recognition.
License plate, yes, that's one of the things they're thinking of, but that's not the area that I was focused on when I was looking at that. But yes, that's interesting, yes.
Okay, so could you explain to us about the stop and search, the procedures, and what you suggest, how we should go about it if we are stop and search by London so-called finest, please?
I think there's no right or wrong answer to stop and search, because the problem we have is that what do you do if you're stopped by the police? You have to do as they ask you to do, or you have no other choice. So to say that, what do you do? The thing is, you do as you're told, unfortunately, even if you feel that it's unfair that you're being stopped, because the alternative is that you can be held because the police have powers to stop you. But what I would say is that as a community, we have to be very, very aware of what it means individually as to what we do when we see a young person being stopped. Do we walk by? Do we leave it? Or do we think about standing there and maybe looking at, just watching what's going on without obstructing the police in any way? Because that will show the young person that there is a level of support for them, and we're not just allowing this to happen without making sure we're looking at monitoring it.
Okay, the reason why I pose that question is because I was looking on YouTube, and it was saying that as long as you haven't committed a crime, a police has no right to ask you your name, where you're going, and your date of birth. All right. Now they're saying, I think part of the thing they were saying, am I compelled to give you my name? I've not committed a crime. How true is that, or how not true of a statement is that?
Well, the truth is that in order to do a stop and search, the police have to think or believe that there is some crime or there is some form of a criminal act about to be committed or something along those lines. They have to believe that something is going to happen, or they have an idea that something may be happening, and that's why they will stop an individual. However, that's not why stop and search is happening. The law is requiring that police stop someone who they may suspect of committing a crime or about to commit a crime, or who they may have an intention of thinking could be committing a crime. And that's the definition that's very, very blurry, because at the moment what stop and search is actually doing is it's not focusing on individuals who are actually clearly committing some kind of offence. It's very random in that they just stop and search. And what they're saying, and what the MPs are saying, and what Javid is saying, is that he wants, and what they're aiming to do is to ensure that when the police use stop and search, they use it within the law. That's what they're asking them to do. And at the moment, that is where we're all unclear. When a police officer actually stops you, are they doing it in accordance with what the law says, or are they just doing it because they're randomly stopping anybody that they think may be holding a knife? And nobody can answer that question, because when you look at the figures, it's very clear that they're just randomly stopping people, because you can't stop so many people and have so few of them for it to be taken any further, in the sense of 80% are not taken any further. So 80% of the people that are stopped are not committing a crime. So that is the problem we have. I believe the lines are very blurred on when police stop and search.
Isn't it kind of that law, like back in the day you had the SOS law?
Yeah, they don't like using the word sus, because they all argue, oh no, sus doesn't exist anymore. However, what we do have is we have a situation now whereby we've got to think very carefully about what's going to happen over the next few months. Because even though sus laws, they say, no longer exist, what the Home Office have announced, they announced it on the 8th of April. Amber Rudd, the MP, and from the Home Office, has announced that they are now introducing, or they're looking to introduce, an offensive weapons bill to tackle serious violence. And that bill is currently being looked at as we speak. And that bill is being brought in to try and tackle the serious offences and the issues with knife crime, acid attacks, all these things. They've put all of that into this bill. And one of the features of the Act is that they're changing the legal definition for threatening with an offensive weapon to make prosecutions easier. Now that part of the bill is extremely worrying, because although nobody's denying we need stronger laws or we need something, what worries me is what that actually means when they say to make prosecutions easier. Because at the moment, we all know that black males outnumber white males in prisons by a high-ranking number, a very high-ranking number. There are more black males in prison in proportion to the number that we have in our population. Now, if that is the case, what is going to happen when this bill comes in and it makes prosecutions even easier than they are now? That, well, to me, will only show that there is going to be an increase, a further increase in the disproportionality of our black males in custody and in prison. And that's what frightens me about it.
All right, I'm going to play devil's advocate, or so-called devil's advocate with you. Now, most of the homicides that we've seen, or murders that we've seen, is black on black. Am I correct?
You are correct.
So why would they see, if they realize that the percentage of stabbings is black on black, why would they see a white person, probably wearing a hoodie, and want to go and stop them when they know that they're not really involved in it to the way the statistics is, unless the statistics is totally incorrect, that there is more white on white crime than there's black on black crime?
Of course there is. I mean, you just need to look at crime statistics all over the country.
But we're talking about knife crimes, though. We're not talking about white-collar crimes or things of that nature.
No. But what you've got to think about is that at the moment we are in the spotlight. No matter what we do, we are in the spotlight. Knife crime is obviously very high, is prolific within our society and within our community at the moment. But it is not just only in our community. Of course, the numbers are extremely high, and they are very high, which is very worrying. But what we don't see and what we don't get is an understanding of what is going on the streets in relation to why certain youths are carrying knives in the first place. What is the root problem?
But I don't think society or the powers to be want to know what the root cause is. They're just trying to look, because the only thing that the police officer can do is come in with some more draconian laws, and that's it. So I don't think they're really looking at the social aspects.
And there you go. That is the problem. That is the problem. Everything we have done, we have been here for years, hundreds of years. Black people have been in this country. The black people of our generation have been here for over 50 years, some 70 years. What you've got to focus on is, what we need to think about is, draconian laws do not work. What you're doing is you're just adding fuel to the fire, because you are not involving the community in the decisions that you are making in order to deal with the high crime rate. What you're doing is you're introducing something without taking account of the necessity to involve the community to help you make it work.
But can I stop you right there? I was in England in the 70s and the 80s, and the community was crying out to the authorities to say, well, you know what, we've got this black on black crime. And they came up, the only thing that they could come up with was with Trident. Now, that was the community, because they were saying, oh, if it was white on white crime, they would have addressed it straight away. But it's because it's black on black. So obviously, that even within our community, a lot of them that a victim or family members of a victim that got killed, they're the ones that are saying, oh, we need the police to be doing, well, not we, they need the police to be doing more than what they're doing now.
That is correct. There's no doubt about it. Trident was around the drugs and all the rest of it that increased the level of crime. What I would say to you is this. I would never say that it is wrong for the police to do what they need to do. It's not what the police are doing that is the problem. It's how they are doing it that is the problem. If you are given powers, you must utilize them in a fair and an integral way. That is the problem we have. The people with the power who are instigating the law, as they did with Trident, took it to levels that made it unfair to the community that it was being enforced against. So do your job, but do it within the remits of the law, and do it fairly and proportionately, and there will not be a problem. And that is the difficulty that we have at the moment with stop and search and with any enforcement that is geared towards a certain community. Why are they not looking to the community to help them to enforce the law in a fair and a concise way whereby we are all involved in the process? It's not happening. The government have made a decision to implement this new bill, which they're looking to put together. They're putting together now. This bill is going to have a further detrimental effect on the young black males on our streets, not just the guilty, the innocent. And that is going to detach them even more from the society that they're in. And that's what we don't want. Do you see what I mean? We really have to think about what we're doing and how we're doing it.
Well, we know that there's racism within the Metropolitan Police, London's so-called finest, and they need to be monitored. But I think he was telling me that there was a gentleman from East London, from Hackney, that he was monitoring and they end up arresting him or something.
Yeah, there is something in the Times at the moment, but the problem is, because that case is still ongoing, we need to be very careful of what we say about it. But if there is something that has been put in the Times newspapers today about a man who is let me get the papers here. He's basically been arrested and been charged, and his name is Ken Hines. The situation with this, however, is that people look, we are arguing that there's a lot of things going on the streets at the moment, not just with this individual, which I'm not going to go too much detail on the basis that it is ongoing, that results in what we would argue would be wrongful arrests. What worries us, generically speaking, is, if I'm honest with you, as an officer on the street, an ordinary white male officer or a black officer on the street, you use your initiative to say when you're going to stop someone. There's no hard and fast rule that says I'm going to stop him, but I'm not going to stop him. So what will happen is it's very, very random at the moment, and there's no clear line as to who tells an officer when he should stop someone and when he shouldn't. The law tells him, but at the end of the day, the ultimate decision as to whether he stops someone is down to him. And what happens is there's going to be a number of wrongful stops as a result of that, with people who don't even look to be committing any offences. They're just being stopped because they're just walking down the road. They're not looking suspicious in any way. They're not doing anything wrong. They're just coming from college or they're just coming from work, and they're just going to be stopped. Physically just stopped. And that is the problem that we have, and that is what's going on at the moment. Now, this is in the public domain, this issue with this person now, and he has actually been stopped. He's actually been placed in a situation whereby now he's looking at charges against him on the basis that he is somebody who is in the community, who's done something that has been useful to the community for a long, long time. And what's happening is that people of this nature have to be brave enough to stand up for what they believe in. And when I say that at the moment we're stuck in a mire with not knowing what the lines are, should a police officer stop someone? Shouldn't they stop someone? Do we stand by and allow a police officer to search someone? Or do we do something about it without getting done for obstruction ourselves? That's what we've got to sort out. And that's what's worrying me. Nobody in the community really understands what they should do if they want to help somebody they see being stopped, specifically when somebody who is in the business, who does deal with it, is also getting into trouble for stopping and watching what's going on and monitoring it. So we need to find out if we can do something about that, and if people in the community want to get together and say, well, we're going to have a group whereby if we see a young person that's being stopped, we are going to make a conscious effort to stand there and to watch what is happening.
So let's look at it from this perspective. I'm walking one late night, 11 o'clock at night, and you know some of these youngsters, they're out, they do the vampire shift, right? And I see two of them out there, and the police, there's like a police car, there's like 3-4 police cars around these two black youth. Now, what can I actually do as somebody in the community? Take out my phone and video it?
No.
I'm not allowed to video it?
No, of course. The fact remains that each police officer should have a camera on their...
Yeah, but I don't know if he's functioning.
Nothing can stop you from videoing someone if you choose to do so, if you believe that you want to film what's going on.
Right.
What you have to be aware of and be very careful of is that whatever you do, other than just view what you've seen, is going to cause antagonism, and it may make things worse than better. So that's what I'm saying. None of us actually know what we should do, and that's what we need to sit down and work out. What do we do as a collective unit of people? How would we deal with it? We need to have a consistent approach so that we all do the same thing. I believe if it was me, I would stand there and I would watch what was going on, and I would make a mental note of what happened, and I would make a note of
But that would be, but yeah, making a mental note, that's not a tangible evidence to say, well, yes.
If you listen to this and take it on board when I say it in relation to everybody. There is nothing wrong with taking out your phone and filming what you see. However, think about the follow-up action when you do that before you do it. That's That's all I'm saying. Because as an individual, you have the right to do it, but the response and the consequences of it is what we need to discuss, because it could cause more problems by doing it in that way. I'm not saying it shouldn't be done. I'm saying we need to think about what we do when we're there. The situation may allow us to do it, and we may say, officer, I'm going to film this, and I want you to know I'm filming this, and I'm taking in what you're doing. If they're doing nothing wrong, there should be no problem with them being filmed. And that's what you do. You let them know. You don't just take out your phone and start filming them and act in a way whereby I don't believe what you're doing is right. You do it in a way that protects the person that's being stopped and protects you. And that's what I'm saying. We need to have a clear process as to what we're going to do and not get worked up about it. Do it in a proper and professional way. And that's what I mean. So it can be done, but just pre-think about it before you do it and how you do it.
Okay. Yeah, but if they're public servants and I'm standing across the block, all right, but I can use my camera and get a good view of them, there should not be no problem with them as far as them saying obstructing them in the line of duty.
There's no problem with it. But what I've said to you and what I've said before is if we were dealing with a force or a police force that were implementing the law in a fair way, that would work. But what you've got to remember is that sometimes you'll have very good officers on the scene who understand the law and know the job well. But on the other hand, you could have younger officers on the scene who are hotheads, who don't think about what they do and get it wrong. And that's what you've got to be aware of. You've got to weigh up what you've got in front of you before you do it. If you're miles away or you're somewhere where they can't see you filming it, then there's no need to ask permission. You just do what you need to do. At the end of the day, that information will be taken in a good way or a bad way. That's what it is. But what you've got to remember is protection has to come both ways. You have to protect the person that you're filming and you have to protect yourself. And you don't know the personalities that you're dealing with before you start filming. So you need to be careful that you don't make it worse for the person that's being stopped rather than better. And that's what you've got to think about. You've got to think about what it means to the person that's being stopped. We would always say, everybody who's in the community, we are law-abiding citizens. We do not want to break the law, and we do not agree with the violence on our streets. We want it stopped just like everybody else. But we want to protect our young people, but we want to do it in a way that is clear and is fair and is reasonable without being aggressive or doing something that can make the young people's lives more difficult in the way we react.
Okay, I got a question. I got Mr. P in the house. He's going to ask you a question in a minute. But what I wanted to ask you is that you said it needs to be done in a fair way and it needs to be monitored a certain kind of way. What role does David Lammy, Dawn Butler, Diane Abbott, what role do they play in this?
It's difficult. At the moment, there's a lot of animosity between David Lammy and Diane Abbott within the community. Now, some people are saying that we need to get them on board. Personally, if I'm honest with you, I believe that David Lammy has hit the ground hard with what's going on now. I think he is beginning to understand that what is happening in his own constituency is completely and utterly out of control. And if he wants to get the support of local people, he now needs to think very carefully about what he does now.
So that's he has ulterior motives, because this thing has been going on for the longest, and we never heard nothing from him. None of the politicians. Now all of a sudden it's in the public domain, and now he turned around and he's got a lot to say.
Yeah. There you go. Now that is what I and everybody else has been saying for a long, long time. The situation is this, and this is what we need to think very carefully about. I'm not saying I agree that David Lammy has had people on side for a long time, because if I'm honest, I lived in Tottenham and I voted for David Lammy when he first came against Bernie Grant's wife all those years ago. And I made a decision to vote for him as opposed to Bernie Grant's wife. And I'm telling you now, when I made that decision all those years ago, I believed that that was the wrong decision. I shouldn't have done that. The reason I did it was because nobody was better than Bernie Grant to me. I didn't believe anybody could surpass Bernie Grant. And when we lost him, I thought, no, that's it for me. I'm just going to vote Labour, because at least I know that they're the Labour government and they're going to care about what we do. Nobody's going to care about us the way Bernie did, so I'm just going to go down the Labour route. And that's what I did. And a lot of us did that. Now, years later, we've watched the progression of David Lammy going further and further up the lines in relation to his career. And as his career's gone up, our communities have got more and more fragmented whilst he's going up. This is what people have seen, and this is the problem we now face. If David Lammy wants to do something for his community, he needs to show us what he can do for our community right now, because I'm not sure he can convince the community that he is on their side anymore. I'm going to have an open mind as far as he's concerned. And do you know why I'm going to have an open mind? Because he has a voice in Parliament that can be listened to.
Yeah.
Whereas, and that is what we need to do. Yes, we're angry. Yes, we're not happy with what he's done. However, what we need to do now, as my father would say, as all the older heads would say, is we now need to look to him to see what he is prepared to do and say, you need to show us your commitment. Show us that you're worth voting for.
Yep.
Show us that you're going to get behind us and support all the things that we're asking you to support, and get off your ladder of trying to move up and think about where we are down here and do something for us.
Okay.
Do what Bernie Grant would do. That's what we want you to do.
Ms. Campbell, I got Mr. P in the house, and he would like to ask you a question.
Of course.
Good morning, Miss Campbell. Good morning. Thanks for taking time out this miserable Friday morning. As we're on the sub, I've got quite a few things to add to what you've said, as well as one or two questions. But as we're on the topic of politicians, I'm very, very disappointed with the black politicians that we've actually voted for and we've actually elected and put there. I'm going to start with David Lammy, because I myself, for many years, I've worked in Tottenham. I'm originally from Hornsey, North London, and I know Tottenham, Wood Green, the whole area. I know it by the back of my hands. And several times I've tried contacting David Lammy, and it goes nowhere. You ring, you leave messages, nothing. He doesn't come back to you. Yeah. Now, this has been going on for decades. Knife crime isn't something that's only happened in the last year or two. Yeah, the media have jumped on it. Yes, the media have jumped on it, but it's been going on for a very long time. Now, my issue with David Lammy and my issue with Haringey, is I used to run breakfast clubs and mentoring in the schools in Tottenham. This was like way back in 2004, and the work that we did made it into the Times Education Supplement. However, they were so impressed we made it into the Times Education Supplement with the mentoring and prefect training, and I was dealing with NEETs as well. These kids had been kicked out of school, and they were one step away from being on road. So, they were glorifying the work that we did. They're saying how brilliant our work was. Come the following year now, Haringey turn around and say, "Oh, sorry, we haven't got funding to have you back here again." Yeah. So when we approach a man like David Lammy, we can't hear anything. We don't hear anything back from David Lammy. And I'm glad that he has stepped up. Okay, and he is being heard at the moment. I'm glad about that. However, I think it's a little too late.
Yeah,
and
a lot of people are saying that. A lot of people are saying that.
Yeah, it's too little too late. And I'm not just going to call out David Lammy's name. I'm going to call out Dawn Butler. I'm going to call out Diane Abbott. I'm going to call out Chaka Omuna. I'm going to call out Kwasi Kwarteng, Conservative black MP, Ghanaian brother. Where are these people? Right? Why can't they, as black MPs, I know that they might be on different sides of the fence, but why can't they just come together and say, you know what, this is affecting our people? Yeah, and really and truly, that's what comes first. So, what's your take on that?
Yeah,
Ms. Cambell.
David Lammy, not necessarily, but think about back when Bernie Grant, Diane Abbott got into power. What was it? Was it Paul Boateng? Who was?
Paul Boateng. Yeah, Paul Boateng. Yeah.
Now, remember there was a group that got into power after the riots.
Yeah.
The black men. These were the hardcore black MPs that got in with Bernie Grant. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
They've lost. Let's put it this way. When they went in, they're very different to how they are now. Yes?
Absolutely.
Because they went in with us in mind. Now they go in with themselves.
With them in mind. Yeah.
And that is the difference. They've lost, like a lot of successful black people in this country, they have lost their way in the sense of what matters. You there?
Yeah. Keep talking.
Yeah, they've lost their way, and this isn't just down to the MPs, and this is the heart of the problem. I have been looking since all this cow happened. I said to myself, I need to apologise to my community, me, Pauline, because I consider myself, like a lot of middle-class black people, to have done quite well. I've got a good job, I've got a good home, I've got no problems with crime in my family, all this business. However, that doesn't cut it for me. What has happened is that all of us who are in a position, like David Lammy, like Diane Abbott, have made the decision that we are going to focus more on ourselves and our families and moving up the ladder than focusing on what's going on to the generation behind us. And we now have to make a decision as to what's more important. Is getting up the career ladder more important, or is the community coming up behind us more important, as we now have a voice? What are we going to use that voice for? And that's when you say, David Lammy, it's like they've dropped the ball.
Miss Cambell, I got a caller on the line wants to pose a question to you. Caller.
Of course.
Good morning.
Hello.
Greetings. Greetings, Omega listeners. What I wanted to ask you was this: what would it be better if we had a African independent party and someone like who's in Parliament, like David Lammy, that could represent our case? Because at this moment in time, none of the political parties has ever represented us as Africans or African Caribbeans within this country.
I think that that's a good idea. However, it's how workable and practical that would be. What we've got to do is, I think that we need a party that represents us, but we don't need to separate ourselves from the society we live in, because it's impossible to do it. We have to be a part of the society we're in if we're going to survive in it, or we can go somewhere else where we feel we are a part of something. What we should do is not take ourselves away from what we have, put ourselves in it. If a door is shut, we kick it open and say, hey, we have a right to be here on the same terms as you. Not different terms, but the same terms. And not because we are prepared to sit back and allow our people to be treated in an inequality, in a fashion that is unequal. We want to be treated in the same way as anybody else. So an independent party is
I totally agree with you in everything that you said. But in order for that to take place, we need to have people who is like us and who can represent us. Because at the moment, we're dependent on that representation to come from people who have always seen us lesser than who they are.
Thank you. I'll tell you something, and I'll give you an example. No matter how well we do in society, and I'm telling you now, it's not just our younger people that have to deal with this. If I go to court, I will tell you now the amount of time somebody hands me the court list, assuming I'm the usher. Okay, the amount of time somebody has said to me, oh, you're doing something which is you're not the lawyer effectively. They're assuming I am not the lawyer. This happens to all my colleagues, not just me. in all the tracks of our lives, these people in power think that they are being given a higher position. They're not.
Exactly.
Because nothing I say, no matter how I speak, no matter what I do, is going to change the colour of my skin. Nothing. And they believe they are different, that they are going to be treated differently. Well, all I ask them to do is to look around them and to see how differently they're being treated. David Lammy was asked by David Cameron to do a report on the criminal justice system. He was asked to spearhead this thing. Now, David Lammy did this report. Why did David Cameron ask David Lammy to do this report on the criminal justice system? Why did he ask him to do it? Now, why not somebody else? Why him? Why did David Lammy not say, you know what? Why should I do this? Why should I do this report on the criminal justice system? Why are you asking me? Is it because I'm a black man you're asking me? David Lammy made all these recommendations on the report, and one of the key recommendations David Lammy made was we need to get more diversity within the judiciary. That's what David Lammy said. That was one of his recommendations in the report. Do you know what they came back and said? No. They said, we need to let the judiciary, the diversity within the judiciary happen naturally. That's what. Now, this is David Lammy doing this report, 108 pages.
Sorry, Miss Campbell. Caller.
Well, the fact of the matter is they didn't need to do a report because they've already got the statistics.
Right.
All right.
Anyway, thank you very much.
No, and thank you. I think that's a really good comment. I think it is. We need people in the...
Yeah, it's something that we really need to look at.
And I think that's excellent.
Anyway, have a blessed day and wonderful show, OG.
Thank you. All right, take care, caller. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Peace. Yes, you posed a question a while ago, and why David Lammy? But even Cameron, wasn't he looking and saying, they see there's a problem, the disparity within the judicial system? At least it was highlighted. Isn't that better than not being highlighted?
Do you know what? Sometimes I would say that I agree with that. But do you know what all this highlighted to me? Nobody cares.
No, but it was. I don't think it's...
Irrespective, what I'm looking at is, I am telling you this now. This isn't militancy. This isn't anything. I am the most neutral person you can think of. What I'm saying is, when this man put this report together, when it went out there, I want to see what they're going to do. Not just say, oh, we're looking at the reports, we're looking at recommendations. What are they going to do?
Who Miss Campbell, who are you saying they? What are they? Who are you speaking about they?
The government.
No, but listen, but the government can only do what the people, the populace want them to do. Now, if it was a Jewish community, they would have addressed it. The community, they would have forced the politicians to do what they have to do. If it was a homosexual community, they would force the politicians. We are supposed to force the...
because they have financial power, and they can dictate what they want.
But we've been in, like what you said, we've been here over 50, 60 years. We still got some... Yeah, go ahead.
You don't realise how powerful we are as a race of black people.
Oh, I know it. I don't think the race don't know that.
Joe Blogs out there don't know.
There you go. Think about what we do. If we run a race, we win it. If we play tennis, we win it. If we make a decision to do anything we want to do, we win it. Now, physical sports are okay. They like us doing that because we win medals for them, or we can show that we're good at what we do. However, when it comes to political change, when it comes to us having any power within the governmental system, they don't like that. So that's why we're still on the back foot.
Yeah, but
now, what you've got to look at is that no matter how good or bad we are, the only way we as a community are going to make a change is if we get together and do it as a joint.
Yeah, but this is where we're supposed to hold accountable, because David Lammy and all of them knew about the Windrush. They knew about the gun and knife crime. They've been knowing about it, and they've not said nothing about it, but they knew about it. Shouldn't it be us as a community to hold them responsible?
Exactly. Hence what I said, and what's been said is that maybe, unfortunately for them, it is too little, too late. Because if they are going to get behind us, how many people are going to actually believe that what they're saying is true, or they're not just doing it because they think it's the right thing to do at this time?
Well, really and truly, I don't care. I don't really care if
they're just going to go back to what they were doing before.
Well, really and truly,
Miss Camp, to find out.
To be honest, I don't care what their ulterior motives at the end of the day. Just get up and do it.
Right.
That's just my thing. Get up and do it.
Exactly. Right. So this is the topic of discussion. That is what we want to hear. My philosophy is he has a voice. Whether we like his voice or not, he has a voice. And we need to utilize that voice and make him use it. And that is what we have to get him to do. I don't think there's loads of people that I'm not 100% happy with. However, I believe that you utilize the good and the bad in everything you do, because it's all about the power that we have from that person. So I think you are right. He needs to be held to account. Diane Abbott needs to be held to account. Every black MP needs to stand up and be held to account, and let's see what their voice is saying in Parliament. Just the way he argued at the Windrush and started screaming and shouting, let's see if he's prepared to do that for his own community. Let's see.
Okay.
Let's see.
I wanted to ask you, you're from over East London side. Do you know Dwayne Brooks?
I've heard of Dwayne.
Dwayne Brooks was part of the Stephen Lawrence thing there when he was with Stephen Lawrence when Stephen Lawrence got killed.
Oh, yes.
Now, I know he's running for independent party or something like that. Now, I don't know how familiar with him. Would it be somebody like him that we should say, forget about the Dawn Butler, the Diana, and go independent like the caller just calling section, we have our own independent...
Well, if I'm honest with you, over the last few months, I have been thinking of looking at going for MP myself.
Oh, then run. I'll back you. Run.
Other black males and black females are thinking about, let's think about how we can run. But what the caller said before was correct. I don't believe we should be running with Labour or Conservative or Liberal Dems. We should be running as independents. There was a man who was called Bell. I'm not sure if it was Tony Bell. He was a reporter, and years ago he ran as an independent Parliament member against Hamilton for the Conservatives, and he won. Now, he was a journalist that was on every TV programme. His life was journalism, and I was looking at him the other day, and he said he had enough of the Conservatives. He had enough of the corruption. He wanted to run, and he won. Now, what I'm saying is that at the end of the day, we need to start thinking, but I wouldn't do it and call myself an independent black party, whatever, because I'm an ordinary person looking after my community. So I would just run as that. I don't need to attach a name to it. I just need to show this is me running for my community and saying what I believe in my community. And we need more spirited political people like that to think, let's think about running for Parliament. Because the people we got in at the moment ain't doing what we need.
The question is, will the community back you and vote for you? Because they don't...
There you go. Now, you've made the decision you want to run. Okay, just like Dwayne has made the decision he wants to run. What I'm looking at now is the experience that Dwayne can bring to the table based on what he went through during those years of torment because of what happened when he witnessed what happened to Stephen, okay, will bring him an expertise that no other MP can have. He'll be in that room that no other MP will have that experience. The difficulty we have with the police on our streets is the majority of them walking around, if not 100% of them, have no indication about the people and the streets that they're living in. They don't know anything about us.
That's very true.
In power, have no knowledge of the communities that they're enforcing the laws against.
Yeah.
None of them would pick up. When Meghan Markle's getting married to one of the royals, people are saying the royal family are going to be tainted because she's now in the royal family. Meghan Markle's arranged to have a black celloist play at her wedding.
Yes, yeah.
They've got a gospel choir at their wedding. So when I'm telling you, if the royal family can start thinking about changing things and making a difference, who can't? Who can't do it?
No, it's true.
Why can't we do it?
Yeah, I agree. And I wanted to touch on what that caller said about having a black independent party. In essence, it sounds great. problem is, you've got to remember, even if every single black person in this country, got behind that party, we're not really going to have that. I mean, look, in London alone, there's only about 500,000 of us, and in the rest of the country, we probably make up. So in total, I'd say we're about 1.5 million black people in the country. So a black party, it would be very much a minority party.
Yeah,
so
that's why I say we shouldn't have a party.
I'm not sure how it works.
An MP's got a voice. An MP's got a voice.
Yeah.
They go on to, what I'm saying is, the problem with black people, 60% of black people did not vote at the election.
That's because we're not interested in politics. We're not interested in politics, Pauline. That's the problem.
Exactly. But
I'm sorry. Miss Cambell, I've got a call and I've only got like 3 minutes. The caller wanted to pose a question to you. Go ahead, caller.
Hello. Yeah, there was just a quick point. That's a good idea, but don't you feel that in some way that you're probably going to have to appeal not only to the black voter as well, but also, which is the fastest growing people that shouldn't be defined, I don't think, anymore as mixed race, because I think they're a people in their own right. Now, a lot of the times, in the cases that happen with what has surprised a lot of people, there's a lot of people who speak on our behalf, okay, and sometimes it is a lot of white mixed race people that do speak on our behalf. So the thing is, it's something that universally attracts a lot of people, not only black.
Oh my God, that is so true. You are singing from my sink. That is exactly the abolition of slavery, and a man called Wilberforce, who created the police force, did the speech in the Houses of Parliament to abolish slavery.
William Wilberforce, yeah.
Right? What I'm saying to you is, we are not saying that we want to be an individualist as a black group, because we can't survive without white people, and white people can't survive without us. Yeah. We need each other. And
all right, Miss Cambell, sorry, caller.
Really important.
No, you got 2 minutes, caller.
Yeah.
Caller, did you pose that question? Because I've only got 2 minutes, and I need Miss Cambell to wrap it up, please.
Another important factor in the statement is that if the parties see that you are attracting a good percentage of black voters, and if they all got together and did that, they would look at a way to try and, because that would affect their situation in their seats in those particular areas, because sometimes they're only one on 30 or 40 seats. So if they see that they're going to lose major seats, well, maybe they might accommodate your party one way or another, because you are taking voters away from them. So,
I don't believe in separatism. I believe in change, and that's exactly what you're saying.
All right, I've got it. Caller, thanks for your
separatism. But what I'm saying is that you would have an important part, because you would be taking voters away from them, so you would be playing a major
and the political world is a nasty one. Nothing's fair.
All right,
they need to.
Caller,
they have to work together. You're right, caller. You're so right.
Caller, sorry. Listen, I've got like 45 seconds, and I need Miss Cambell to call it a wrap. Caller, thank you for your call. It's appreciated, and hopefully we can get her back again next week. Miss Cambell, thank you, caller. Appreciate it. Miss Cambell, I've got like 30 seconds left. All right. Basically, I can't even say wrap it up, because there ain't enough time to wrap it up. But
just say thank you for people who've shown an interest, and hey, this is just the beginning of our battle, and we need to work together.
So hopefully in the very near future, very, very near future, you will be able to call back in. And on that note, I've got to say bye, Mr. P.
Yeah, Pauline, it's Mr. P. Hashtag on the bookshelf.
All right, listen, Miss Cambell, thank you very much. We got to go. Peace. Bye.
Anita Radio 104.